Because I was not alone, but I was feeling lonely. Ironically, you learn a lot about yourself and your family the moment when you are exposed to the different kind of environment. And that was around 5-6 years ago. I did not speak a word in English.
You're doing a lot of different things now, so how
Yeah.
do you balance your time?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a killer question.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay, doing okay. How's your day been?
It was been productive so far.
Okay.
It was good. Good.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, it's going to be productive. Okay, so what are you doing now currently in life?
So currently I'm a second year psychology student at King's College London. I'm also a vice president of a Polish society at
poets as well, okay.
KPLSU. Also, I am an intern at Homestart as a part of my Civic Leadership Academy, and I do Global Leadership Principal Award.
Okay. So you got a couple of things in your plate.
That's like on the nutshell what I'm doing.
In a nutshell.
the main projects.
The main projects. I like that. So how are you finding doing psychology at the moment?
It's pretty interesting. Challenge a lot of your taken for granted assumptions and teach you about like society and especially humans and individuals, how they interact with it, how they function and behave as a response to some triggers, or how the natural innate responses are activated in particular environments, how it leads to different kind of mental health issues. But at the same time, we talk about how increase productivity in like occupational settings or educational settings as well.
Okay. Did you always know that that's what you wanted to do?
I think from when I was a child, I knew that I had that idea that I'm interested more in the people rather than in things. So I always was fascinated by team interaction, innate differences, individual personalities, how they influence on the motivation, resilience, so on and so on. So I feel like from when I was a child, as I said, I knew that I wanted to do something related to psychology. And it has not really clarified throughout so many years what exactly I wanted to do. Therefore, I decided to do general psychology studies at King's, as they provide that kind of like general, deep, insightful understanding of psychology world. And then you can specify and you can maybe get more maybe more specialized in a certain branch in a certain way.
Okay. So seeing where you are now in life, is there anything that for you kind of jumps out as something that you wish you'd known earlier?
There's like a lot of factors and a lot of things which I wish I could know before. Firstly, I feel like it would be beneficial to know how universities operate and function, in what way they work in terms of education. I think in terms of workplace and employment, kind of the importance of networking and how you can benefit from it and how you can develop your connection, the web of connection, and benefit from that and interact with it. So sort of like a reflective learning and learning through communication with others, how mentoring is important. I think it's also important to know before coming to university how the system differs, but at the same time how you can benefit from it by your interaction, because school settings versus university settings are so different. So therefore the way in which you interact with them needs to differ too. I wish I could also be aware more about the London community, because I'm studying in London, but at the same time my community back in home, because ironically you learn a lot about yourself and your family the moment when you are exposed to the different kind of environment. And moving from Manchester to London and from Poland to Manchester first kind of gave me the two opportunities to realize about a lot of existing differences and kind of life lessons coming from them. It's kind of hard to talk about it here and give like a specific example, but once you're in that environment, once you're exposed and stimulated by so many different interaction with different people, with a diverse community, with a higher education, so on, you're just starting to like notice those kind of small differences and notice those kind of assumptions which you used to take for granted, and now they're like a little bit different because people are different and therefore the way in which they approach life differs a lot. So that kind of understanding of a complexity and specificity of the world has for sure benefited me since I came to university, but I wish I could know a little bit more about it before.
How was because you mentioned you moved a bit. How was it how was it for you to adjust from going from Poland to Manchester and then again coming from Manchester to London?
So when I moved from Poland to Manchester in UK, that was around 5-6 years ago. I did not speak a word in English, so I was put into the year 10 in high school, facing GCSEs at that time. So I had like around 7 months to catch up with a lot of the materials, because we had first like a wave of a GCSE in year 10, another wave in year 11. And that was a massive challenge. I do remember from being a really top university student, high school student in Poland, being trapped in like lower sets because of the language barrier. So that was a challenge, and require a lot of resilience and resistance to obstacles in the environment, not friendly obstacles, which I think that was a nice challenge for me, a nice practice to what comes at university, whether you like it or not, whether you're a A-stat student or not, you might not achieve that well, because at the end of the day, from my A-level results, I achieved pretty well. I catch up with language, now I can communicate easily with you guys, but when the transition from college to university, that's another challenge for you. That's another challenge for your resistance and like mental strength, your knowledge, curiosity, how much work and you're willing to put, how much motivation you have inside yourself. So like intrinsic motivation is pretty important, because really here you're treated really independently, and if you don't have that self-determination to achieve well, you might not do that well despite of being so successful at A levels. So yeah, moving around, migration, that kind of different life events have taught me a lot about lessons about who I am, what I want to achieve, how I should do it, and what kind of challenges I might face on the way there.
Okay. So how was sixth form for you?
So the sixth form was quite a strange place, because I love the teachers, I love the classroom environment. I've done a lot of subjects which requires a lot of debates, like sociology, psychology, but also it requires a lot of interaction. However, outside really the classroom settings, I did not really have much friends. I was always perceived as like someone else. So the sense of belonging with a community was interrupted. In the way, I have a respect from my teachers and from my colleagues and students. Therefore, I've been elected as a student governor of Hull College. However, many times I was feeling lonely. So being alone or having like the feeling of I'm alone and having a feeling of I'm lonely, that like two different factors which are also worth to consider in terms of the mental health. Because I was not alone, but I was feeling lonely.
It's true. I guess, yeah, that's the interesting thing, because sometimes it's not necessarily feeling alone and being alone are two different things. So I guess for you, how did you kind of get through that period of time?
So what I've done, I'm not sure if I will benefit that to anyone else. I just focus on my education, like seriously, revising a lot and focusing on my hobbies. So I'm a dancer, so I was quite heavily involved into dancing, performances. I was going to the gym to improve my physical body, like my stamina, and so on and so on. So I was really focused on like family. I was focusing on religion at that time. Also, I tried to focus on my education, which was successful, but really my social life did not really exist, which I think was my mistake at that time, that I was not really reaching out to more people and trying to get to socialize with them more and learning through interaction with others. And I think this is something what really needs to be considered when you are coming to university, that having developed relationship with a local community, with students, lecturers, GTAs, so like your teachers inside seminars, it is important to have that relationships, to have that kind of interaction, to not feel lonely, even if you're not alone.
Okay. Wise words. You're doing a lot of different things now, so how do you balance your time?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a killer question. I use different resources to help me navigate my time and to help me arrange a lot of other things. So I try to use as many resources as possible, including like Google Calendar. I also done some few workshops and seminars about time management. Also I'm part of the leadership programs and projects, which all of those help me to manage and develop those kind of essential life skills, soft skills, and different set of the skills to handle my so many of activities which I'm exposed to right now. As long as I think I enjoy them, and I found them particularly interesting in stimulating my personal growth, then I'm willing to kind of adjust my calendar and adjust my schedule to make sure that all of those things have the time and space within my life, so I can progress through and make some kind of progress with those projects and events which I'm handling and leading. So time management is also a massive life skills which you have to learn as a student, because you might either end up with a massive time gaps where you don't know what to really do with them, or you might be on another side of the spectrum when you just have so many things to do that you don't know which one you should really start with. So time management and knowing your limits is very important, knowing when to say no, and also prioritizing something. So education at university should always be top, and on the top, nothing else really matters. Obviously, other things are super important and stimulate your growth, but at the end of the day, you're going to walk out with a qualification in hand, and it only depends on you, how much time and effort you're going to put in, which might then result in 1-1 rather than 2-1 or 2-2 or 3+ degree.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. So I guess thinking of reflecting on everything that, or just what you said, but the life you've lived and stuff like that, is there any advice that you would give to other people that you haven't already mentioned?
Oh, thousands of advice. There's a book probably, there are books probably written about how to prepare yourself. As I feel like knowing your strengths and weaknesses, being aware how you can celebrate and develop further your strengths, as well as work on your limitation, is really important. So have like a SMART goal, set it for yourself. I find it quite particularly beneficial because those could be short term, long term. It's good to remember that the time will pass, whether you like it or not. Is the question of where you're going to be once the time has passed. So I feel like the SMART goals can make you realize that you have the time, you have the power and ability to shape your future. Obviously, there are so many obstacles, and that's why I'm saying you need to be aware about your weaknesses, about your challenges, and rather than maybe romanticizing them, oh, I'm so unprivileged or disadvantaged because of because A, B, and C. Just think about how you can cope with it and how can you go around those things and how you can maybe find a way to improve your life facing those challenges. Not saying ignoring them, but at the same time trying to fight with them, because at the end of the day you will have to fight with them and they will influence your life in one way or another, but the way in which they influence your life might be in some way, to some extent, also decided by you how they will do it. So that's the first advice.
Okay, cool, thank you. So the last question, do you feel that something like this scheme that we're trying to do is important? If so, or if not, why?
I think it's important to makes people reflect on a lot of the things which are coming up, and makes them realize, because a lot of people are aware, some of them are not. That's why reflection is quite important. So I think that scheme kind of provokes that kind of reaction, provokes the reflection and deep analysis. You know, I'm talking about my personal experience, which might not be applicable to anyone who's listening to that video, or vice versa. It might be applicable to a lot of you guys. But at the same time, you just need to reflect really on your situation, and that scheme kind of develops a platform and gives you an opportunity to do it. It gives you the chance to have some help as well if you face some challenges and you don't really see the way out of it. So I will really recommend to think about deep inside yourself how you can interact with that particular scene, with this opportunity, and how you can get as much as possible away from it. How can you benefit from it? Because everything what we are doing here, the video, the presentation, whatever you're experiencing as a part of being this team, is probably to benefit you at the end of the day. It's just your choice in to what extent you will benefit from it.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.